welcome to W&L Review. Today we will be reviewing. I don't know why I have trouble saying that. Two movies, Avatar and The Descent, and I will let my daughter start off.
Okay, so if you have not seen Avatar, I don't know where you've been. Everyone and their dog practically has seen Avatar.
These guys saw it.
Yeah.
They're fairly new.
Yeah. So the Avatar is about the Na'vi people and scientists who are investigating and learning more about their home, because of course it's on another planet. It's not on Earth. And these scientists, these humans, have come, and most of them, well, some of them have the motive purely to study the Na'vi people. But then there's others who just want to be on this planet because they found a certain rock, basically, that is worth, for one little bit of it, millions of dollars on Earth. So they're all in it for the money. And what ends up ensuing is that the people who are there for the money, mostly the military people, decide, well, we tried going this way with the scientists and just trying to get to know them and then maybe eventually create a peace treaty with them so that we can get this rock, and they decided to take matters into their own hands and try to destroy the Na'vi people's home. And the Avatars, aka the scientists, created a way where they could be in basically a Na'vi body, but be able to control it, remotely from a little chamber that they're in. And they call these avatars. The scientists do. So there's the name Avatar. And one of the people there, I can't remember his name. What was his name? The main guy.
Jake?
Yes, Jake. The main guy, Jake, ends up falling in love with one of the Na'vi people. And so he's on their side, and all of the scientists are as well. Well, the main scientists that we see anyways. Not actually all of them, because some of them were basically overrun by the military people. And they fight to try and help the Na'vi people win versus the military people. And eventually they're able to get all the different Na'vi communities to come together and fight against these humans who are trying to take over their sacred places. Their places of worship, basically. And in the end, the Na'vi people win, and Jake is eventually able to basically become a Na'vi permanently, rather than just being
there
temporarily and all. His life force is basically permanently placed into the Na'vi body, taking away the life force from his human body, and he's able to stay and be one of them forever, and that's the premise of the movie. Now, I really didn't do it justice. There's a lot more action that goes on in it, in the whole process of Jake being actually taken as one of the, and seen as one of the Na'vi people. He has to basically go through all these trials and challenges to prove that he is able to become one of them. But it is such a good action-packed movie. There's, like you heard, there's some romance, there's action, there's suspense, and it is just an amazing movie. It's really long. It's about 3 hours long. But when you're watching it, if you are really into it, it does not seem like a 3-hour movie. It seems like an hour-and-a-half movie. At least that's when I watch it. Now, of course, if you're not really into kind of sci-fi kind of movies like that, or action movies, then it'll probably feel a lot longer than it is. But I'd say that you guys should really give it a shot. It's such a good movie. And with that being said, I'll let my mom tell you her opinion of the movie.
Avatar is a really, really good movie. I don't remember there being really there might be a couple of like a little bit of language, but not like anything over the top. Like I don't remember them any f bombs or anything like that. Um, there's there's no nudity. Um, so that you don't have to worry about. It is really long, so if you're gonna watch it, don't. This is a movie that you really need to pay attention to. So don't put it on and then start doing other things. This is a movie that you need to sit down and actually pay attention to what you're watching because it's important. Uh, it is one that you could watch with younger kids, but I think that being that it's so long, little ones, a lot of times they don't want to sit still very long, so it they may lose interest really fast. But as far as the visual effects, the auditory and visual of it is beautiful, and they might be like totally enamored and be like, oh, okay, and totally lose sight that it's nearly 3 hours long. Um, and that's a fluke. I mean, really, if you have a child that's little and can sit down for nearly 3 hours, sit still and not get the ants in their pants, then you're lucky. Because neither one of my children did that. I'm not like that usually. I have to get up and walk around sometimes because I don't like to sit down. That's not my stomach. That's our dog down here growling because he wants attention. Anyways, it is really good. Jake, who is the main character, it's kind of started because, and it's really neat because in the movie, his human body was in a war or something, and he lost the ability to use his legs, so he was in a wheelchair. But when he becomes an avatar, he is completely able-bodied, and he's able to run and walk and do all sorts of things that he used to be able to do before he was injured. So that makes him all the much more love being an avatar. And it is, like my daughter said, it is very, very good movie. It has a lot of, bless you, a lot of visual effects. It has special effects are great. Everything that you see is really awesome.
Oh, shush, you're okay.
Anyway, I would say that I would give it a shot. I wouldn't give it a shot if you have plans to go, fix dinner or whatever. I would be maybe put it on in a day when you early enough in the day because it is a long movie. You don't want to put it on at like 8 o'clock and be still watching it at like nearly 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So, it's something to watch like kind of earlier in the day probably. It has good actors in it, and I'm not going to sit here and name all of the actors, but it is directed by James Cameron, the same gentleman who did Titanic. So it is, got a lot of that visual that he wants people to be drawn in, and you are drawn into this movie. So definitely. I will say that if you like special effects, kind of science fiction-y kind of movies, this is probably right up your alley.
Yeah.
And the next movie we're going to talk about is The Descent.
Okay. So The Descent is a science fiction suspenseful horror movie.
Yes.
Kind of all those things. So it follows friends. I can't remember exactly how many.
I think it's 8.
I think it's 8. That go down and decide to go spelunking.
Well, you kind of have to give a little bit of history.
Well, okay, so they were all high school friends, and for the first time in a long time, they all decided to get together, and they were all the adventurous types.
Yeah, the adventure seekers.
Yeah. So one of them decides to make the plan to go spelunking. And so they go down, they end up getting stuck. And what the rest of the friends end up finding out a little too late by the friend who planned it all was this is a uncharted cave. Nobody has gone down there, or so they think. Nobody has gone down there and came back anyways, so, because this friend was like, yeah, not only will it be our first time doing something together in a long time, but we'll be famous for it. Well, they got stuck, and they couldn't turn back to get back out. So they had no other choice but to keep on going and hope there was another way out of the cave.
Which, if you're claustrophobic, this would not be, no.
But, so they keep on going, and they get down deeper and deeper and deeper into the cave. And of course, things start to happen. One of the friends ends up breaking their leg.
Yeah.
Where the bone is poking out.
Yeah, shush.
And, there's that. Then they find out they're not exactly alone in this cave. Finds out there's these humanoid-like creatures living down there that have adapted to zero light. Like, there's no light down in that cave.
Yeah.
So they can't see, but they have really good hearing. Kind of like a bat.
Yeah, they're kind of like a vampire bat person thingy.
But they're also kind of like wolves in what they eat. And that they eat meat. Because they found a cave full of bones.
And skeletons.
And skeletons of all sorts of animals, including human. And so throughout this movie, they are running from these creatures, hiding in the caves. One of the friends actually ends up getting killed by their own friend because, and it's the same friend who brought everyone down there in the first place. However, on her part, it was an accident. She was right in the thrusts of fighting these creatures, and so when her friend came running up behind her, she stabbed her with her pickaxe thing right in the throat because she didn't look behind her before she came around with her weapon. She thought it was another one of the creatures, and she thought her friend was
a creature.
Yeah, but then what I was saying was she thought her friend was dead right then. We'll find out later on, one of her other friends comes and finds this girl, and she wasn't dead. And she had this one girl, I believe her name, the girl who brought everyone down there, I believe her name was Naomi. Or something like that.
I don't know.
But anyways, the girl who got cut in the throat had this one girl's bracelet and gave it to her other friend. And her friend knew whose bracelet that was. Or necklace, sorry, whose necklace that was. And later on, after a couple more of the friends passed away, towards the end of the movie, the friend who found the girl right before she died came across the girl who brought everyone down there and confronted her with the evidence of what had happened. After the girl said, "Oh, she was attacked by one of the creatures," clearly lying to her friend. So rather than telling the truth and saying it was an accident, it just made her look more guilty, and so her friend ended up killing her. And that one friend was the only friend to escape. All the others passed away. And that was the end of the movie. Now, I will say, it's kind of a slow start,
Is it?
and there's a lot of language,
Yeah.
and, but,
But if you want something to scare the pants off you, it'll work.
oh yeah. So, even though The Descent, like I said, is slow going, give it a shot. I believe about 30 minutes in is when things really start to amp up, which is quite a long time before things start to get interesting when it comes in terms of movies. But it's so good. I believe it's either an hour and a half or 2 hours.
It's about an hour and a half, I believe.
Yeah. But like I said, it is so good. Edge of your seat kind of a movie. There's other things that happen in the movie that I didn't explain, and I probably didn't explain it right because, I didn't completely give it justice because I don't remember the names of everyone in the movie. There were a lot of names to try and keep track of. Because, like we said, there were 8 girls that went down into this cave. So that's a lot of names to try and keep track of.
Yeah.
But it's just a really, really good movie. I believe we found it on Tubi.
I think you're right.
So,
I don't remember right offhand.
I don't know if it's still there now, but you guys might check it out if you think you're interested in it. And with that being said, I'll let my mom tell you her opinion.
The Descent is a sci-fi thriller movie. It is slow going at the beginning. There is the very beginning of the movie is kind of like detached, and you're kind of like, what?
Yeah.
It starts off the beginning of the movie, and all these girls are like in a raft, or not a raft, but a boat,
Yeah.
on the river, and they're adventure seekers. They're thrill seekers. They like that living on the edge kind of thing. And anyways, they're boating on these horrible, horrible, horrible waves, and they make it through. And this one girl, her boyfriend and daughter, or husband and daughter, whatever, are waiting for her, and she's like, did you see, we did it. And he, on the way, as they leave this area, everybody says their goodbyes, and this has been some time, everybody's saying their goodbyes and everything. They get in the car, the girl and her significant other and the little girl, they all get in the car, and they're driving, and she's trying to talk to her significant other, and she's, hey, blah, blah, and he's being really distant from her, and she can't figure it out. She doesn't know what's going on, and he turns and he looks at her for just a brief second, and he turns back, and they get in a car accident, and they don't show anything other than they show this log or something get embedded impaled in the windshield on the side where he was in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets killed immediately. Well, the woman, she was sent to the hospital, so was the little girl. Now, it never said whether the little girl survived or not, so that's kind of left up in the air. But the woman, she goes through a lot of rehab, of getting better, physical therapy and all that, of because of this accident. And then this one friend, we'll just call her Naomi because we can't remember what her name was otherwise. She gets everybody together and says, hey, let's get together, let's go on this trip, let's go and explore, and tells them about this, we're going to go and we're going to do this. And they're all like, this one woman, just had this accident, several months before, about a year before or something. Anyways, she says, oh, well, I don't know that I want to, I'm kind of still feeling timid. Oh, come on, you'll do fine and everything. So they finally, all these women, they get together. They go and they stay in this cabin in the middle of the woods. And the next morning, they're going to go off and they're going to go do this cave that this one girl has told them about, implying that this cave has been explored before, but unbeknownst to anybody in the group except Naomi, that the cave has not been explored. And so, like my daughter had said, yes, they travel down, they get down, and then they find out that they cannot go back the way that they came in because the area in which they went down, it starts to narrow. So then they have to go they have to go further in and hope that they can find a way out. If that makes sense. That they hope that there's another exit somewhere, which turns out that there was. But in the meantime, they come across these creature things that are they're kind of scary. I would not want to meet one of them anywhere. Not a dark alley, not nowhere. No. But yes, they have really good hearing, and these women don't know this at first. They don't know that the hearing is good. They don't know that the eyes are bad or any of this, and until a few of the friends have already died, and it's really it's really sad. A couple of them have died because they were trying to escape, and they had gotten into an area where they were almost out or almost to a point where they could get out, and then one of the creatures got them because they had made a noise. And so you're basically, once the action starts, you're basically on the edge of your seat the entire rest of the movie because you're trying to you're anxious because you want these girls to get out, women to get out, and they all but one die. The one that doesn't die is the one at the beginning of the movie was saying, hey, I don't know if I want to go because I just got done out of this accident, and she's the only survivor. So it was like, oh my gosh, she didn't want to go to begin with, and now she went, and she's the only survivor. So and then
now she's got to explain where all her friends have gone and what
right.
happened, and she's gonna sound insane.
Yeah, I mean it's just, the movie is good. It does have a lot of language, and the F-bomb is used a lot. So if you don't want to watch a movie that has that kind of language in it, then don't watch the movie.
Yeah.
If you're okay with watching a movie that has language in it, then be wary if you have children and you want to watch the movie.
Yeah.
It is very spooky. I won't say it's super, super scary. I mean, there are some bloody scenes, but I don't think it's anything over the top. It's nothing I don't know, some other thing that you could come up with. But I would say it is a good movie. It's slow going. It does have a lot of language. The premise is really good. I mean, I like the premise, I think. And the fact that it was not your typical kind of scary movie, the bad guy or monster guy is going to come after them. Yeah, it's not what you think. Okay, you think, okay, these girls are going to go out, women are going to go out, and they're going to go to a cave, they're going to go explore, and oh dear, they come across these things, and there's not just one, there's multiples of these creatures, and there's girl ones and boy ones, but and the only difference is the boy ones are bald, and the girl ones have a little bit of hair, and that's the only difference. But it is very spooky. So just yeah. And with that, if you liked what we had to say, give us a like, hit subscribe, so that way you know whenever we make a new video, and hit the notification bell too, so you'll be notified anytime we make a new video. And pass on our information, our channel information, to all your movie and TV fans out there. And
huge shout out to Marianne, also known here on YouTube as
Life Unboxed.
Thank you for joining our Patreon. If you guys are interested, the link is in the description box down below.
And with that, guys, we'll see you later, and we'll see you next week.
Bye!